Hello and welcome to the 11th week of the BDE Sports Talk Podcast Pickem Show. I am Bill, along with Dean and Eddie, here for all your college football pick needs.
Parlay winners from last week.
Parlay
Should
winners.
say. Lead it off with that, baby.
Mm.
We all want a little cash.
A little bit of cash.
Finally. And then actually I had a pretty good weekend. I started betting second half games, like games in the second half, where I thought it was pretty comfortable. And I think I won like $100 extra or something like that.
So something like that. I tried to get in on the what was the high scoring game late at night Saturday? USC or Washington
It was
or Oregon.
I can tell you here. It was Washington. Yeah, it was Washington USC because they put up 84 points.
Yeah, and I'm like, well, I saw like the updated over under at like 80, and I'm like, oh yeah, I feel good about that. So I hit the under on that, and of course they had to go over 80. I'm like, dear Lord, man.
Oh no, I'm sorry, it was 94 points.
Yeah, no, it was like because the over under. Yeah, I was gonna say, I was like, I know I hit the under, or I played the under, and it was, I thought, like 84 points. And I'm like, man, I know they're like on pace for a big number, but 84 is so many. Yeah, you just felt good about it.
Yeah.
You don't play defense, I guess that happens.
Yeah.
So then after I won, I played. Dean knows this. I played Deal or No Deal Slingo for the first time, and I'm like, wow, I'm down to the last two cases. Either I can win like $4,000 or I can win like $200. Not knowing like the higher the amount goes that you could win, every time you spin, it's a higher bet.
Yeah,
so
after your free spins or whatever.
Yeah, after your free spins. So I was betting like $15. I look, I'm like, where's the last number wasn't coming up, and I'm like, why am I down to $105? I had like,
is that on DraftKings?
Yeah. And then I looked and I saw the spin amount. I'm like, oh crap. It was like $15-$16 spins.
Yeah.
I don't even
big spender, dude.
I don't even
high
like
roller.
doing the $2.
He plays $5-$10 slots at the casino.
Yeah. Big man.
No, I do not. So lesson learned. But that is a fun game. Just so you know. Anyways, that's neither here nor there.
Segment brought to you by DraftKings Sportsbook.
Yeah. Yeah.
All the best props and extra games that you could possibly want.
Yeah, I like that. That's what I use. I use DraftKings. You used to use MGM, right?
I still have the app, and but yeah, I mean, I like the prop bets on DraftKings a little bit better. There's just more options, I think, in general. But BetMGM's a good, solid.
I actually use FanDuel Casino and DraftKings for sports betting.
Yeah,
nice.
I like to switch it up.
I like the rewards on DraftKings, I think, as much as anything. You get that daily no sweat bet, boosts all the time. I mean, a lot of places do that, but
Sure.
I just, to me, it was like the easiest interface.
True. Very user friendly.
Yeah. So, anyways, let's get into last week's records. Eddie and I both went 13-5 on the money line. That puts me at 142-44 at 76.3%. Eddie is 135-51, 135-51, 72.6%. Dean went 12-6. He's 145-42 at 77.5%. All three of us hit our Stone Cold locks for the People's Parlay. So we are all 6-4 on the season. So obviously 60%. We're 2-6 on the People's Parlay. Record against the spread, over-unders, I did not have a good week at all. I was 8-10. That now puts me at 89, 87-4 at 49.4%. How the mighty have fallen. Dean went 10-8. He's 97, 79-5 at 53.6% on the season, which is very good. And Eddie had another great week at 11-6-1. That puts him at 85, 87-8 for 47.2%.
Chipping away.
Not many weeks left is the issue. Chipping a little late here.
Another, you were again the high point getter this last week at 39 points. That puts you at 332. I had 32 points for 344, and Dean is still up by a good margin. He had 35 points for 362 points to lead the season. As we get into week 11, premium bets, we went 2-2. Oklahoma State over, Kansas plus 2.5, and then Notre Dame and Nebraska lost. So that puts
that Kansas line again is pretty tasty, is it not?
Yep. Oh yeah. Yep. Premium bets, like I said, we were 2-2. That puts us at 15-2 for the season. So not bad for our first season, really. You know, I kind of
put us up there against a lot of quote unquote experts, honestly. Especially the kind of year it's been. A lot of those guys don't have percentages, especially as high as Dean's.
Yeah.
On the spread, and I mean, what I've done the last couple of weeks is damn near unprecedented.
The thing is, we can laugh about it, but you're 23-12. You're 23-12-1.
That's a good line.
2 weeks.
That's a good line for a 2-week line.
Yeah.
You know, so it's looking like we can find our groove here, and then I just am good in the beginning of the season. Dean's good in the middle, and you're good at the end.
I think I was the hottest at the beginning.
I don't think so, sir.
That's not where I gained my lead. Was it in the middle? Is that where it happened?
Yeah, because I was 11-4 the first week, and then I was 11-5. Yeah, I first 2 weeks.
Oh, on the spread. On the spread.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, we were. Yeah, you've always been in the lead money line wise. So, but that was because you had one extra game that first week.
Bam.
So it was Bama. Yeah.
Oh, I know. They locked it in for me that week.
So week 11, how you guys feeling about this week? Just looking at the games that we chose, you like them? Yeah.
Big games, you know.
Yeah, man. I mean, that's a good part of the season, man. You get the games get a little tougher because the competition is is just ramped up. You know, you see the big teams playing big teams, and conference play, rivalries, all that stuff makes it harder. But we've also seen a lot of them, and so I think that's helped out quite a bit too. But I mean, I like it because there's a lot of good games. It feels like every week now.
Yeah. Well, and like it's gotten to a point now where I can kind of spot like tricky lines where like I don't understand a couple of these lines where I'm like, is that a trap line? You know, one of them, like you said, was Kansas.
Yeah.
You know, that's I don't get it, but yeah, I don't know. We'll see.
At home too.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing.
Yeah.
It's like it is just so it's very like, what do they know?
Well, I mean, as much as we know, I feel like.
I think
Texas Tech stealing signs, probably.
I mean,
Like it's gonna be 3.5. Trust.
Vast network. So, one thing I wanted to bring up before we got into our games is a lot of how I've modeled our Pickem show, and I'll cite my sources, is from Barstool Pickem. They have a good structure of what they do, and I think it's kind of worked with us as well. They brought up something this week that I thought was interesting, and I wanted to get your guys' thoughts on it as well. So we're getting into college football playoffs, right? And the implications of what could happen. So, like, for instance, right now, if the season were to end today, you have Michigan, Ohio State, Florida State, I think, are the last 3 undefeated teams that are ranked that
sounds
high.
Right. Yeah, sounds right.
But then you've got Georgia,
of course,
right? So you in that scenario, you can't leave out a undefeated champion, right? That's pretty. For the problem is now you've got Washington. So say Washington runs the table. Now you have five teams in there, right? So who do you think is left out in that scenario?
You got to pull a Big Ten team out. Whoever loses, Michigan, Ohio State, if they're undefeated going in,
one of them's got to lose, right?
Yeah, I mean, you got to pull one of them. I mean, especially if Washington runs the table, Alabama runs the table. It's like I don't know how, especially if Michigan loses just based on the schedule,
right?
Then they're definitely out. But Michigan's probably going to win out. It seems like so. We'll see. I mean, you could slip up anywhere. Right. Penn State's not a joke, and neither is Ohio State, obviously. So,
right.
But yeah, you'd figure one of them are definitely going to be out especially if Washington doesn't lose again, and at Alabama too, because they'll be playing in likely the SEC championship game. Are they in the same division as Georgia? Or no, they play in the SEC championship, don't they? So that's also an eliminator,
right?
If Bama loses,
well, and that was the thing.
If Bama loses, that one.
So that was the thing I was going to bring up next. So say Michigan. We'll just say Michigan for now, right? Roll Tide. Michigan
Dean loves
wins.
his Bama.
I don't even like Bama.
You don't like them. You love them.
They've been good to me this year, so I have to kind of like them.
I mean, how can you not, dude?
Yeah, they've been good for me.
So let's go with a scenario where Michigan wins out. They win the Big Ten. They're in.
They're definitely in.
Yep. Who was the next one? I forgot.
Florida State.
Florida State wins the ACC. Georgia. We'll say Georgia loses to Alabama in the SEC championship. But then you say Oregon beats Washington in the Pac-12 championship. So now you've got a 1-loss Georgia, a 1-loss Alabama, a 1-loss Oregon, and a 1-loss Washington. And a 1-loss Texas, really, if Texas runs the table too.
For me, that's when you were just relying on the analytics of it. Strength of schedule, strength of record, and see which one evens out to the higher, and that's who's in. That's me. I mean,
right.
If you've only lost one game and have a stronger schedule and record, I mean, what are we talking about?
Well, okay,
I mean, that's a more deserving team,
right? But say for us, right? Say. What was I going to say? Say what you need to say.
Say Michigan loses to Ohio State, and then Ohio State loses the Big Ten championship game.
Well, I
think they're both out.
As of right now, I could see that.
Except maybe Michigan could get, because if Ohio State loses the Big Ten championship game, they played a crappy team out of the West and lost.
Right.
I don't know a good team out of there.
Right. Well, it's looking like it'll be Iowa.
Exactly.
So
I don't know a good team out of the West. I mean,
right. So, see, like I said, you have Michigan, and then you have those 4 teams, right? So we'll say Michigan, Florida State, because Florida State's played very well. You know, it's something's gonna happen, right? I mean, it always happens every year, but I just, in the case of Michigan, if Michigan loses to Penn State, but then beats Ohio State, Penn State would actually go as of right now to the Big Ten championship because it goes by the West's record, like your combined of who you played in the West, and they played Iowa. Crazy to think about, but so then
that is crazy.
So then I mean, there's so many one-loss teams at that point. That's why I can't wait for the 12-team playoff, really.
I think Ohio State is probably the only one-loss Big Ten team that could get in. Just based on the schedule.
If Penn State didn't win the Big Ten championship. Penn State wins the Big Ten championship, they go to the playoff. That one loss.
Right. Yeah. I guess Ohio State hasn't lost, so they'd have to trip up here against Michigan.
They would lose to Michigan in that scenario.
So I don't even think they drop that far if they lose to Michigan. I think there's a good chance that they would keep Ohio State.
I mean, there's a chance that happens what happened last year.
Right.
Exactly.
It just depends how it all plays out, right? I mean, there's a lot of big games left. Big games. Pretty much only big games.
Well, they know what the moneymaker is. In Michigan, Ohio State, I mean, there's not many bigger moneymakers than that. If you can get that in the national championship as well.
Well, that's the thing, though. I think if Michigan were to beat Ohio State and win the Big Ten championship, and they were able to sneak in Ohio State, which I don't think they would, because I think Oregon's a better team than Ohio State.
I mean, if they slip.
If Oregon were to win the Pac-12 championship, I mean, they're a complete team. I mean, I was looking at the stats today. They're top 10 in both offense.
I think
defense.
If Washington or Oregon win the Pac-12 championship with one loss, one of those should be in. Whoever wins that, if they have one loss. Now, if they have 2 losses then I'm like,
no. Because then you got Alabama, you got Georgia.
I mean, has Washington?
Texas.
Who'd Washington lose to?
No one. They're undefeated.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
But if they were to lose to Oregon in the Pac-12 championship,
then you got to give it to Oregon.
Yeah.
It's 2 really good teams.
Yeah.
So both coming to the Big Ten.
Hell yeah.
Oh. Sweet. Michigan State doesn't have hard enough time, has it?
Hey, dude, we don't even hardly see those guys.
They'll be in the West, right?
I don't think they're doing divisions.
No.
Oh, they're not.
No.
It's gonna be one big division.
Yeah.
Oh, it's gross.
I think Michigan plays USC and Oregon next year.
Probably. They're trying to make cash.
So are they gonna have a Big Ten championship game still or no?
Yeah, I think you just take the best,
kind of like
the top
conference record. Yeah,
that's pretty much what the Pac-12 does now.
I like that personally. I like it better than divisions.
Yeah, no,
I think the MAC should do it too. Yeah,
I agree. I think either whoever ends up having the one loss should be able to play in the Big Ten championship again. I think it'd just be a rematch for, I mean? Instead of Iowa coming in there, and credit to Iowa, winning 12 to 10 games.
I mean, that's the issue is that the West hasn't won a Big Ten championship game.
Right.
Like That's what I'm like. All right, dude. Let's look at it here. It's obviously the divisions. Let's just we should move on from those because it's just one division.
Well, if you throw Oregon, Washington, and USC over in the West,
well, that changes it for sure.
I mean, you'd have to, right? I mean, that would make the most sense for.
I mean, I think they just figure USC, Washington, and Oregon are going to play each other every year, just for travel wise, and then you just go from there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It'll be cool to see, though. By the way.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, a lot of changes come next year. Like I said, you got the
chain.
That 12-team playoff is going to be sweet too.
Oh, dude, state 12th seed next year.
Woo!
Jason Candle leading the charge.
It'll be Jace Bauer. What are you talking about?
I get Candle put in my sphere all the time for that MSU job, and I know he's done a good job at Toledo. I'm just in general opposed to a MAC coach that has been like the head coach at a MAC school for like more than like 3 years.
Brian Kelly.
How long was he at CMU?
At least
3 years.
At least. I mean, he had Lefevre.
Yeah, but that was like constant success too. There's been a couple bad years at Toledo. Candle took over at Toledo in 2016. That's 7 seasons at a MAC school. If you're that good, dude, you're usually gone by now.
It's true.
And it's no offense to those guys.
Right.
It's not like Toledo's a dream job.
Right.
You know, like I'm just saying.
And Brian Kelly was at Central for 3 years.
Exactly.
But he was 19 and 16 too. But then he
but
he wasn't
because of that first year. That first year was probably rough or what? Because when he rolled, we were rolling.
He was 4-7, and then 6-5, and then 9-4, and then he went to Cincinnati.
And then old Butch Jones stepped in. Then he leaves Cincinnati, and old Butch Jones steps in again. That guy. He knew what to do. He's like, hey, I run like the same system.
Just follow the footsteps, baby.
You know, we could be almost as good if you hire me right after.
We could be nearly just as good.
Almost. I'm not Brian Kelly, but I'm close. As close as you're going to get to him after he leaves.
Turns out he wasn't.
Yeah, it turns out he wasn't.
All right. Well, let's get into this week's games. I got 5 to talk about this week. First one we'll talk about is number 13 Tennessee 7-2 at number 14 Missouri 7-2. Missouri is a 1.5 point underdog at home. The over under is 58. I'll start. I have Missouri winning. And with that said, I'm the cover, obviously, because they're the underdog. But, I mean, either team you pick is essentially going to be, a cover. So, essentially a pick 'em. When I think of Tennessee, I guess I'm not impressed. I know they're 7-2. But for whatever reason, I don't know. And I like Missouri. I think that's why I don't believe in the fall. I don't believe in the fall. So
did they lose this week?
What's that?
Did they lose over the weekend?
Missouri?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was my lock, Missouri to cover against Georgia.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right. They played Georgia.
Yeah, lost to them by 9. So, I got Missouri to win and cover. So, I don't know. What do you got, Dean?
I actually have the exact opposite. I think it'll be Tennessee, even though I go back to them kind of screwing me over against, I forgot who they played. I think it was like Miami or something. But, I mean, they've been pretty hot since overall, I don't know. Like I said, I am on record saying the the fall of Missouri is on its way. And I mean, they have a tough schedule coming up, and it's not hard to believe that they could fall to these teams. So I took Tennessee to win and cover. I think they're going to pull it out.
Yeah. We have 16 views on this episode, and one of them's the Missouri Tigers.
Bulletin board material.
That's good. At least I'm on somebody's bulletin board.
I took the same as Dean. I went with Tennessee with the cover. I know you're kind of a hater on former Michigan quarterbacks, but I think Joe Milton's really getting it done out there, and I do feel like it's Tennessee's game to win. I like what Missouri's done this year, but I do think this is Tennessee's game.
I should probably switch.
Follow your heart. This is points.
I love the premium bets. So
you only love them if they're natural.
Yeah.
Speaking of getting into Washington, they play Utah at home. Utah's 7-3. Washington's undefeated. Utah got beat pretty badly last week, didn't they?
I think so.
Yeah.
Did they?
Anyways,
or did they win by a lot?
Last week?
I can't remember. They had a big game recently where they scored a bunch of points, and it was surprising.
It is surprising.
No, they got beat last week 35-6.
Whew.
Oregon.
Sure.
So they did win the week prior. Or no. I'm sorry. Last week they did win. They won 55-3. They played Arizona State.
Okay, that's what I was like.
Yeah,
I know they just put up a ton of
Yeah. So okay, sorry. For me, it was a tough game to pick. Utah's defense is great. Their offense isn't as they put up 55 points. They did play Arizona State, but still, I mean, 55 points is 55 points. Still, their offense isn't great. But the thing is, it's vice versa for Washington. Washington's offense is very good. Their defense is not good at all. It's also not a night game, so I think it's going to be super close. I'm a proponent of like home teams in night games just
play better.
Even though the records probably don't show that, but
more adrenaline. I get it.
So, I think this is going to be a good game. It worries me that they got beat pretty bad by the other good team in the Pac-12, pretty badly. But I'm going to go with Washington to win a close one and Utah to cover the 9.5. Oh, Washington's a 9.5 favorite at home, over under 51.5. So, Eddie.
Well, yeah, it's definitely Washington's game to win, and I took Washington to cover that. I think they're going to put it on them like Oregon did. We'll see. I mean, you don't know. I mean, we've been surprised plenty of times this year.
Very true.
So, but yeah, it just feels like, I know Washington's defense isn't good, but Utah's offense isn't that good in general.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Washington and Oregon are pretty similar teams. So it seemed like 9.5 felt pretty good to me. So I like Washington with the cover on that.
Yeah, I agree with Eddie on that. I took Washington to win and cover. For the same reasons, I think I compare them to Oregon. They're similar teams, both high offense power, highly offensive powered or whatever. Like defenses aren't great, but they're good enough to win. And against a not stellar Utah offense, I think Washington puts it on them, like Eddie said, and they win and cover.
Just for context, Washington's ranked 4th in the nation in total offense. Utah is ranked. Where'd it go? I think it was like 93rd, 92nd in total offense this year. But conversely, Utah is ranked number 10 in the nation in total defense, where Washington's ranked, I think it's like 129 or something like that.
I mean, what did their defense rank against Oregon? Not good.
Oh yeah. But
you know what I'm saying?
Oregon's like a top 5 offensive team and defensive team. Washington's ranked 99th in the country. So no, I get what you're saying.
Yeah,
I get what you're saying.
If you're gonna play a shootout, I'm not sure that's Utah's game. Well, I guess they put up 55 against Arizona State, which Arizona State can play, but like once it gets away from you, then it's just like you're waiting for the clock to run out. I don't know how the game went. I didn't watch, but at a score like that, you assume it went that way. You're down 28-zip, 28-3, third quarter, whatever. You're like, ugh. A lot of those guys.
Utah put up 21 in the fourth.
So. Makes sense.
Moving on, number 9, Ole Miss, who was 8-1 at number 2, Georgia, 9-0. Georgia's a 10.5 point favorite at home. Over under is 58.5. We'll start with Dean this time.
Oh, all right. Yeah, so I mean, should be a good game. I took Georgia to win this one, and I also took the over. I think it's going to be somewhat of a shootout, maybe like 34-31 type of score. I think it'll be close, but I do think Georgia will end up. I just think Georgia's the better team overall, and they'll win. So,
Eddie?
Yeah, I didn't take the over, but I'm with you there. I kind of went the same route as I went with them against Missouri last week. I like Georgia winning. I like Mississippi to cover. In the last 9 games, Mississippi is 6-2-1 against the spread. Georgia's 2-5 in their last 7. So again, that trends that way. Mississippi's a good team, and we'll see what happens. And it's a big enough number. I think they can keep it in there, but I mean, you could easily see Georgia winning by 2 touchdowns, and that's that. But I like Mississippi to cover that.
I'm with Dean. I took Georgia to win. I took the over. I definitely wasn't as comfortable as you are with where the number was at, because for the reasons even you said, Georgia could blow them out. It could be super close. I tend to lean towards that Georgia will probably pull away in the second half. They're going to be up for this game. Ole Miss, like you said, Ole Miss covers really well. They are 2 top 15 offenses in total offense this year in the country. Georgia's D is good. I think they were in the top 10. But I think this is going to be high scoring. Like Dean said, I think I could see this being 35-31, 35-28, 42-30, So
yeah, I mean, I agree. I think to me, 10.5 was just enough. I think it's a 10-point game, man. I mean, like 41-31, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. I almost took the Ole Miss to cover as well. I wasn't super comfortable with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, fair enough. It's just close enough.
Just close.
So next up, Michigan State at number 1, Ohio State. The line is -31 for Ohio State. Over under is 47. Eddie, we'll start with you.
Yeah, I definitely feel like Ohio State's going to win.
What?
I know.
You crazy bastard.
I'm going out on a limb on my money line there. Originally, I kind of had Ohio State covering, but that line, when it opened, was 3 or 4 points lower. And it just kept shooting up. And so it got out of my range of comfortable. So I went with the over. I think Ohio State is going to get what they get. I mean, they could win the way Michigan won, 49-0. I think Michigan State's feeling a little more confidence, so I think they get. I'm hoping they get a touchdown or two, and I think it helps Ohio State help get that over the over. So, and I think it'll be a similar score to like Ohio State had last week with Rutgers. Honestly, I think it'll be pretty similar. I think, but it's at Ohio State. It's the sacrifice under the lights in Columbus, and we'll see what happens. But definitely OSU to win, and I'm going to take the over on that.
The sacrifice under the lights.
Second one.
Dean, what do you got? I agree with Eddie again. I took Ohio State to win and the over on it for the same reasons. I could see them winning the way Michigan won as well. Like, it could be a 49-0, but like Eddie said, I think Michigan State has a little bit more confidence, and I think they might put up a score, maybe pull a Pop Warner play out, maybe get 2. That'd be nice, but I don't know. But I Ohio State in the over.
Nice. Okay. Well, I don't know how you say it in Spanish, but
did you change your pick for that? No. I know you've been dying for a premium.
No, I didn't.
I could see the look in your beady little eyes.
Yes. Premium.
I actually thought at the time about MSU covering, because I could see it. I could see it being an Ohio State Rutgers game, but I like you said, I could also see it being 49-14. I could see it being 49-7
easily. Yeah.
Like you said,
so that's Ohio a premium bet.
Yeah, Ohio State will get theirs. Whether. I'd say they probably put it.
I mean, the result isn't in question. It's just a matter of by how much and how many points.
How much?
Right. I mean,
you're not wrong.
Yeah. We're all so wrong. Insane to choose Michigan State to win that game.
Could you imagine though? I'd be pretty stoked.
Well, yeah, dude.
not if I bet money, but I'm talking more like.
I mean, I'm gonna bet money on it. So
for Michigan State to win,
and just for the over. But if
I will, I'll put.
If Michigan State wins, I'm telling you, it didn't hit the over. So
right. Oh yeah.
It's like 14-9.
That money line's got to be
minus 80 million.
No, for MSU. The shocker in Columbus.
Yeah, man. Shocker in Columbus.
Hey, no one gave Virginia a chance when they played North Carolina.
I mean, true.
And Virginia was not good.
And they're still not good.
They're still bad.
Not great. Yeah.
They just had a good. Any dog can have its day, right?
Them dogs barking down there.
And this dog
be just enough for Barnett to keep his job.
There's no shot, even if he wins.
Yeah. I'm more likely to get the Michigan State head coaching job than me.
I mean, I guess if he wins out, then you have to think about it.
I don't think
you beat Ohio State, Penn State.
The hardest part of the schedule. He's just like, I figured it out. Like, what the heck, man? You could have done this 3 weeks ago. He's like, I just thought, I was being real compassionate.
His compassionate approach.
Yeah. Once I really turned it on the boys, they really responded. they were accountable.
Dude, that'd be nuts.
It would be. We had the
like, we're giving him also a 10-year, $95 million.
Oh no!
You idiots!
Why would you do this?
Plus 2,500 for MSU to win on the money line right now.
Be a good chunk of change.
I don't know who the hell's betting that.
1,000 on MSU.
I'm gonna put a G on that.
I will. I'll put $10 on it.
Oh, okay.
You're gonna
Like,
put
geez,
$10 on that? Why would you
Nah,
throw
probably maybe
$10 away?
5.
You dude, yeah. I mean,
What
make
about
it 5 or
$1?
less if you're actually gonna play it.
What's a
Because
dollar?
there's
Dollar you win 25,
25 grand. $25.
but 5 you win 130.
I'm not very good at
Big-
this.
For whatever reason, someone put 20 grand on MSU on the money line.
I don't have 20 grand.
you're just sweating and shaking.
Oh man,
From kickoff.
I'm trying to.
Oh, dude. To put that kind of Skrilla on the Spartans.
To beat the
Columbus.
number 1 team in the nation.
We're arguing over $5.
Yeah, dude.
20 grand.
It's not
Oh,
worth
man.
losing $5.
I just had this feeling. Oh, that'd be great.
It'd be amazing.
It would be. I'd be happy to be.
I'll burn something for it.
Yeah.
All right. So
Just burn my house down.
last game.
So fired up.
Agree.
Like, aren't you a CMU grad? Burn my house down for a Michigan State win. Yeah, well, somebody should.
Somebody should.
Oh, shit.
All right. Last game, number 3, Michigan 9-0 at number 10, Penn State 8-1. Penn State 4.5 point underdog at home. Over under is 45. I'll start, and I got Michigan to win and cover. I'm nervous about it. First real test, obviously, of the season, as it gets pointed out every
Other
single
than
day.
State.
Other first real test of the season. So it's a noon game, which seems crazy to me.
Well, it's the money.
Yeah,
Fox big noon kickoff.
Yeah, big noon.
Yeah,
noon game, so it's not a whiteout. Michigan, I said it last week. I said I do say it.
I said.
Michigan's out. I've said it a couple of times. Michigan's out for blood, and I think obviously they're going to be ready to go. Their defense. What's that?
He said they're out for blood, and I said and signs.
And signs. Yep.
And signs. And stallions.
I believe we're 2-0 post stallions. So.
Post stallions.
Post stallions era.
2023 PS. There's BS and PS before stallions and post stallions. Oh,
that dude will never say a word to anybody.
He's true. He is true to the blue, deep down to his core, man. Holding the line.
Refurbishing vacuums with Michigan colors.
I'm telling you though, I do think it only takes one slight from that school, and this guy just lets it just lets it all loose. But by then we should be like, okay, guy. So he'll miss his opportunity to seem legitimate.
Be a Netflix documentary next year about it.
Real quick, because I want to get this episode done. Now that he's fired or he resigned, can he now go to games? Because he's not technically hired by Michigan and scout teams.
I mean,
he couldn't send it to them on video.
But what if he just uploaded it to YouTube?
Then yeah. I don't see why not. He's just a dude out there recording sidelines.
Did you? Yeah.
I mean, that'd be smart of him to do, honestly. I bet he'd get a ton of views on YouTube. Stallion Signs page. Just recording every sideline he can get to.
Chapter 20 of the manifesto.
Yeah, dude.
Post Michigan employment. I started my own YouTube channel. This will now be the way I take over the Michigan football program.
Yeah, dude. That dude's in love. Yeah.
Yeah. Obviously Penn State's going to pose a great challenge for him. I do think Michigan wins by a touchdown. It'll either be, and James Franklin said it earlier this week, it's either going to be a shootout, which could be likely. More than likely, it's going to be a low-scoring game, which I almost took the under. I mean, they're both good offenses, but they're both good defenses. So I could see it being 21-17, 28-21, somewhere in that. So what's that, 40?
28-21 covers.
That would be the over. Yeah. So all that to say that line at the over-unders, I think, is pretty close to what it's going to be. Yeah. So, Dean, what do you got?
I'm feeling risky. I've taken Michigan to win, but I'm gonna keep riding that over that they've been hitting the last few weeks. Like you said, it does worry me because it is probably roughly about where the score is going to end up, which is probably why it's at 45 to begin with. But
that makes sense.
What worries me the most is that both defenses are both really good, and it could very well be a low scoring game, something 17-14 or something like that. But I'm taking Michigan in the over. They've been hitting it the last few weeks, so I'm going to keep riding it.
For context, Eddie, in total defense in the country this year, Michigan's number 1, Penn State's number 2.
Yeah, I mean, even that being said, I took the exact same as Dean. I went with Michigan in the over. That line was enough to, I'm like, man, I really also thought about Michigan cover.
Yeah.
But it just felt like over was the bet. To me, it was just low enough to me. It just seems like that many points are going to get scored in this game, and it'll probably be a 14-7 game or something stupid, man. But it does seem like 45 is the number they're going to hit. So I went with the same, Michigan in the over.
All right,
smart.
All right, so Dean. Dean, how about you go ahead and go over your picks for the week? If you have any notes that you want to say, also feel free.
I don't. So we'll start Illinois. So I took Illinois over Indiana. Illinois to win and cover. Do you want me to say both teams or just the team I picked in the?
You can just say the team you picked. It's fine.
Okay. All right. So Illinois in the cover. I took Maryland to cover, win and cover. Minnesota to win and cover. I took Wisconsin in the under. I took Rutgers to win and cover. Kansas to win and cover. Oh, man, this was a tough one still. I took Bama in the over. Arizona in the cover. Florida State in the cover. We went over those. I took LSU in Florida to cover. Took North Carolina in the over. Took Oregon to win and cover. And South Carolina to win and cover as well. That one I wasn't so sure about.
What did you have for Indiana and Maryland games? The first two or first three?
Illinois and Maryland.
Yeah. And
both to cover?
Yeah, both to cover.
What about Minnesota, Purdue?
I took Minnesota with the automatic cover.
What about Rutgers, Iowa?
You want me to do it again?
No, just last one.
I took Rutgers with the automatic cover.
All right.
Crazy, I know.
Sorry, all my games are out of order because I did these the other night, and I just put them in a random order, kind of. And so I was like trying to number them down.
Oh, gotcha.
All right. Yeah.
Well, okay. You want me to just give them to you right now? Like, so you can number them real quick?
I think I got it.
Okay.
Unless you want to just go.
No, go ahead.
And then I'll double check.
Okay, I can go. All right. I had Illinois and the over 44. I just want to say I hate both teams. That was my notes. I got Maryland to win and cover. I got Minnesota to win and cover. I got Wisconsin and the under 42. Iowa and under 28.5. Iowa's going to make Rutgers play the game. I know the under is low, but
that number's dropped and it started low. So, I mean, you're not alone.
Nice. Yeah. Kansas to win and cover. Alabama to win and cover. Arizona to win and cover. FSU to win and cover. Missouri to win and cover. We already talked about that. Washington, Georgia, LSU and the over 63.5. UNC to win and cover. Real quick on that, it's senior night for them, and it's a night game, so that just goes to my that goes to my night games at home, and it's senior night. Them boys be crying before the game.
Nothing gets you more jacked up than crying before a game. Keep going.
Oregon to win and cover. Oregon may be the best one-loss team in the country, right next to Alabama. South Carolina to win and the over, which is 58. Vanderbilt is pretty good at hitting the over. Plus, they're two bad defenses, and that's kind of been my equation where two bad defenses equals high points. So that's why I took the over there. And then we talked about Ohio State and Michigan. So
nice. Okay. Well, I have Illinois to win and cover on that game. Also have Maryland to win and cover. Minnesota to win and cover.
Oh, that's so premium.
That is. So is the Maryland.
All three of those are.
This one's also premium. Wisconsin plus the under. No, because Bill. Wait, you took Illinois?
no,
Bill didn't take Illinois to cover.
Oh.
Yeah. But Wisconsin in the under. Wisconsin has been under in 4 of their last 5. Northwestern 3 of their last 5. Just seemed to make sense. I took Iowa to win and cover in their game. Here's another premium. Kansas to win and cover. It just feels, I mean, we talked about it. Just seems like one of those lines, right? And I think it was actually Kansas earlier this year where we were all like, that was weird. And then they lost.
Yeah.
Or it might not have been, but it feels like it was Kansas. I got Alabama. I feel like they're going to cover also. Interesting stat about Kentucky. They're 0-5 against the spread in their last 5 Week 11 games.
Really?
I don't know. I don't think it means anything, but it's interesting. But I like Bama to win and cover that. Arizona to win and the over. Arizona's been over in 4 of the last 5. Colorado 3 of the last 5. You know they can light it up. I got Florida State to win, but Miami to cover. Florida and LSU. I got LSU plus the over. LSU has gone over 10 games in a row. Florida has gone over 5 games in a row. I know it's a big number, but I mean that's a pretty good trend.
Yeah.
North Carolina to beat Duke and cover. Duke's only covered once in their last 5. North Carolina's covered 5 of their last 7. I got Oregon to win, USC to cover that. No real stats on that. That's just what I think. And South Carolina to win and cover.
You are wrong again.
What?
No, just
Dims' sheets over there.
you said South Carolina to win and cover.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Looks good. All right, so let's go over our locks. Again, we're all 6-4 on the season, and we did hit our parlays last week. Let's start with, let's see. Let's start with Dean. Dean, what do you got?
Well, let me tell you, boys, something about Alabama.
No way. Yeah?
They likes to win games. That's going to be my lock this week is Bama and the over. I took the over. I think Kentucky will get a touchdown or two, and Bama will put up, 30 plus, hopefully. They haven't steered me wrong a lot. So that's what I'm hoping. I was a little bit uncomfortable with that, but it's already in my picks. So
Alabama, Kentucky over 46.
Yes.
Okay. Eddie?
I'm going back to that Florida LSU game. 2 really bad defenses going up against some offenses. Like I said, LSU's gone over 10 in a row. Florida 5 in a row. I like that game to go over. I like it enough to make it my lock. At 63.5 points. It's big, but
LSU
the numbers say that that's what they're going to do. What's that?
LSU in the over.
Yeah. You can play LSU if you want, but which I agree with that too.
So I originally had Kansas as my lock.
Mm-hmm.
And then I looked it over, and my lock this week is Minnesota at plus, not even +1. I took the money line because money line is the better odds. Ironically, I think -1 was -120, and I think money line was plus
money.
Yes, and the reason, so I've watched both teams when they played Michigan. Minnesota
is not gonna hit.
What's that?
I said it's a premium lock, and Eddie said that means it's not gonna hit.
Minnesota's average, but Purdue isn't good. Minnesota had a tough loss last week, but to be a 1-point underdog to a 2-7 Purdue team, that's not good. And I'm pretty sure their backup quarterback's playing again. Is disrespectful, especially when Minnesota's 1 win away from bowl eligibility. And their next 2 games, their next 2 games are at Ohio State and Wisconsin. So they're going to want to win this weekend. And coming off that loss, they're an underdog to a 2-7 team. Give me the Golden Gophers.
Time to row that boat, baby.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know about that, but so all right. So for the parlay, we have Alabama, Kentucky over 46, Florida, LSU over 63.5, and Minnesota on the money line, which comes out to right now as of Thursday night plus 490. $10 will net you 59 as a total payout. So
Ew. That's a tank of gas, baby.
money's
You know what I'm
money, man. You take
It's
that.
free gas. Think of it that way.
Take that. Get your
free groceries. You know.
Oh man, it's a 7 o'clock game before LSU. So all right, cool. Well, I'm looking forward to it. I'm pretty confident on the parlay. Get to 3 and 6. That'd be great. Eddie, do you have the premium bets?
I do. Our premium bets this week: Michigan State, Ohio State over, Wisconsin, Northwestern on the under, Maryland to cover, Minnesota cover, and Kansas to cover.
Definitely. If you play them separately, they'll definitely probably hit.
Feels like it.
All right, cool. Well, it's a good week. We'll see what happens. I like the plus 490. Looking forward to that money. So, all right.
Cash in.
Cash in. We only got a couple weeks left.
It's like life-changing. Life-changing amount of the quiche right there. You know what I'm saying?
I turned my 10 into $59 last week. My whole life has turned around.
I'll leave it at this. I had a fortune cookie today that said you will take a gamble and win. So
I live by the cookie.
So do I. I too live by the cookie.
All right. Good luck, everyone, this weekend. Bet responsibly, and we'll see you next week. Pickle.